Purdy, a.k.a.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
I'm playing the GOAT in this game.
Really?
Yeah. Listen, all you got to do is just be like Chris Paul, just that distributor of the rock. And, oh, by the way, you see that 49ers defense? Did you see that 49ers defense? That's going to be a tall task out there in Santa Clara.
That's what makes my prediction bold.
Yeah, there you go. Go give me your bold prediction.
I think the Detroit Lions. That's right, Bart. Don't spill that coffee. Don't.
What you talking about, Willie?
You almost ruined that laptop. I'm saying the Lions are going to beat the Vikings. I don't even think it's that bold. You look at the Lions.
Your favorite.
Yeah, that's right. That's
The 49ers, these are not bold predictions.
They are bold. This is
Mine
bold.
was
for
bold.
me. How many people out there think the Lions are going to beat the Vikings?
They're
Me and Bart.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, what are you two? So I think the Lions, they get it done.
Okay.
You got Dan
Bart,
Campbell.
give me your bold prediction. All right, I don't know how bold it is. I don't know what the hell is going on with the eye makers. The Geek Squad, man, had a glitch in their system, but they have the Jets as like a 9-point underdog. Did you remember that the Jets beat the Bills earlier this season? I think listen, Mike White. I'm going with Mike White and my Jets, man. I think they upset the Buffalo Bills. Even bolder than that, I think my Jets win the division. Yeah, I said it.
Wow.
I said it. 2 tears in the bucket.
With your chest, too.
That's bold.
With your chest. By the way, Bills got some bad news on Von Miller yesterday. Miller out for the season, had surgery on Tuesday on his knee. Doctors discovered an ACL injury. You know, he was hurt on Thanksgiving in Detroit. He was hoping he would return this month. Take a listen to Josh Allen.
You know, we're extremely sad for him. You know, we're a better team when he's playing. That's no doubt about that. There's going to be adversity every step of the way, and luckily we've got the guys that we do in this locker room. And I thought our front office did a good job of bringing in the guys that we've brought in, for situations like this. Like Vaughn says, don't blink, and next man up.
All right, at the beginning of the season, everybody just about, it seemed like, had the Bills as their Super Bowl pick. So, Graz, what does this mean for the Bills?
Well, it's bad. Look, the reason I know. That's why you come for the hard.
Bold prediction right there.
First take is next. No, the reason they went out and signed Von Miller, I've been talking to Bills GM Brandon Beane earlier this year. He said, we couldn't get Patrick Mahomes on the ground on third down in the playoffs the last 2 years. This is a guy we feel like can help us. And sure enough, they go into Kansas City earlier this year, and Von takes over the game in the fourth quarter. So and gets Patrick Mahomes on the ground. So he proved that it was the right move. Without him, they're going to need somebody else to do that. If they had somebody else who could do that, they wouldn't have gone out and signed Von Miller for all that money in free agency. No amount of cliche spewing by the quarterback, right? Like next man up, one game at a time, whatever it is he's saying, can fix that.
Yeah.
They are in some trouble. Now again, everything's relative. They're still a very good team. They're still a playoff team. Yeah. They could still win the playoff in the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. But they believed this was the missing piece, and now he's missing again.
Nico, do they win the Super Bowl with Von Miller out?
No, I don't think they do. I think that you brought him in for a reason. That was to get to the quarterback. And listen, your like margin for error in the playoff is razor thin. So when you bring in a player like Von Miller, you're trying to gain a play. You're trying to gain one possession to where it puts you over the top. And last year, you saw that against the Chiefs. They needed one play, and they weren't able to do it. That's why they went out and got Von Miller. That's why he's been able to close out games and get sack fumbles, get the ball off teams, and give his offense another opportunity. So I think that not having him in the playoffs is going to be a really big factor in them creating turnovers.
And it's the psychological effect of it, right?
Yeah, that's
he's the guy that you brought in. Like what happens most of the time when it's critical plays, the guy to have it. Good players can make plays just sporadically. Great players make timely plays. And they brought him in there to make timely plays. He was the closer, so now somebody else has to step up. I think this really puts them in a tough spot because now when you think about it, they're going to have to come out of character and when try and get pressure, they're going to have to try and blitz. And that's going to put that secondary, in a bind. I know Tre'Davious White is back, but without him being there and being a closer, that means they're going to have to be more aggressive. And that's going to expose that defense and not allow them to play that bend don't break. I think this puts them third in the AFC, in my opinion, as far as the Super Bowl, because they're good, but Joe Burrow has the closer. Trey Henderson's over there. Yeah. He's a guy that can close out. They already have Patrick Mahomes' number. It's Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, and then the Buffalo Bills, and then the field.
Remember, they are short on the back end, right? Micah Hyde, the safety, not coming back. He's out for the year. Poyer's been hurt, so yeah.
Sorry. And I would add this, too. when you go on IR, you're not helping the guys on the field play.
Yeah.
Like you can say, oh yeah, well, the tackle's setting this way. Go give them the rip that I would do. They were like, we can't do the way
you don't game plan for nobody else on that offensive line.
Exactly.
You have the game plan for.
Listen, when you talk about Von Miller, see what Von Miller does, he make everybody else better.
Yeah,
all the other guys
on the field.
he makes he makes all those guys on the defensive line better. Those guys are freed up, make one-on-one, make plays one-on-one. Now you take him away, it stresses everybody on the defense. So listen, Buffalo's a very good team. Don't get me wrong, no question about that.
Yeah.
Great quarterback, but we can't understand the loss of Von Miller.
But you talk about the quarterback, and I remember at some point in the season we kept saying, hey, look, Josh Allen's trying to do too much. Now does he have to carry this team going forward?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, he already accounts for so much of their offense anyway. Yeah. Like, I don't know how much more Josh Allen can do for this team.
Line him up at the end.
He's probably their best rusher. Obviously, he's one of the top quarterbacks we have in our league. Again, when you don't have Von Miller, when you get late in the season, you're playing all these great teams and getting to the postseason, you need a guy on the defensive side that can close you out. They don't have that.
I think you got an indication of how they want to play ball now. You see they slowed the offense down to protect that defense. They're trying to play more time of possession. Now they can't just go out there and lean on their defense because they don't want to expose their defense. Remember what happened last year, right? Whoever had the ball last in that Kansas City game won the game. So now Josh Allen has to do a great job. He can't leave 13 seconds out there anymore.
But that's the thing. Like, you could not ask him to do any more than he did in that AFC Championship game. Like, he had the game of his life, and he's had a lot of great ones. He's not going to run out on the field and sack the quarterback for you. That's not going to happen.
Well, he's big enough.
Well, I tell you what, it just makes that game with the Jets so much bigger now. Because remember, Zach Wilson beat them last time. So we'll see what happens this time. Exactly. Let's get more big, sneaky news, this time from Big D. We're all-pro left tackle Tyron Smith back at practice. According to Jerry Jones, Smith could be back protecting Dak's blind side as early as this Sunday against Houston. Now, Smith has been out since August with that knee injury. And since 2020, Smith has only played in 13 games, but when he's been on the field, listen, the Cowboys' sack rate drops. Their yards per play moves from 5.5 to 6.2, and the difference is the same as moving from 20th in the league to tied with the Chiefs, the most yards per play over that span. All right, so, Graz, the interesting thing is not only Smith, supposedly they're getting James Washington back. Remember they signed him in the offseason, got him away from Pittsburgh. So with all of this, are we talking about this all-Cowboy offense now? Is they're getting Super Bowl?
Yeah, look, they're going to get better, right? And Tyron Smith, if he comes back, he plays left tackle. Tyler Smith, who's filled in for him, probably slides inside to guard. They believe the line has played well, but that fundamentally it's probably right now, as constructed, a better run-blocking line than a pass-blocking line. Tyron Smith obviously would improve the pass protection. That's one of his specialties. He's one of the greatest in the league over the last decade at it. In terms of James Washington, it's a player they haven't had yet. He got hurt in camp. I think if they had signed Odell Beckham, James Washington's probably not a factor. And I think the fact that James Washington's practice window is opening and they're talking about getting him back tells you something about where they are on Odell Beckham. Yeah. I feel like it was probably like an either-or kind of thing. He's a player. Once they traded Amari Cooper, they thought this is a guy that can help us fill in those gaps. So we'll see.
I mean, you talking about trying to stay face, right? Like, they openly courted, they slid in Odell DMs, they courted him. I thought it was a damn recruiting trip to like a Power 5 or something. And like to lose that, like it's to say, okay, now you got to go back to the other guys and say, no, we believe in you too. Right. Man, don't come back to me, man. You was head up there gushing, giving this dude heart emojis, gushy eyes, all that type of stuff, man. So I wonder how this affects him going forward.